Now, what's this 90%?
Nah, it's just the upload. It'll keep
Uh,
uploading there. Bear with me, everybody. Just getting everybody on all of the platforms. Almost done. We are good to go. Welcome, everybody. We are back here in the terminal. Today, we are here with a special guest. I am excited to have this conversation, as I am all of them. But I know there's a lot of people that have been in my inbox trying to figure out how to go move abroad, how to take some of what they are already doing and maybe do it somewhere else. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Royland with Natural Culture Entertainment on. Please, thank you for coming.
what's going on? How's everyone doing? It's your boy Roy, aka Natural Culture, your culture, my culture, our culture, cultivated, cultivating greatness through photography and videography all across the globe. Happy to be here.
Nah, man, I am happy to have you. I appreciate you because you are very, very good at your job. I can't remember exactly how we got connected, but we had the opportunity recently this year to work together on our trip that we had, you, me, and R&B. Shout out to those guys. They were able to
Yes.
come out and get some amazing footage of the You, Me, and R&B event. So once, thank you for that because I don't think I actually told you that face to face.
Yeah, that's a fact. It was a great occasion, being able to connect the culture and shoot and be able to create that space for y'all. It was awesome. You know what I'm saying? Then we linked up again in Medellin. I seen you at the Afro Fest, so that was
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. It is that was a good night. I had came late and but I
Yes.
ended up staying a little bit later. It was actually a good time. But let's back up, man, because we're here
Hmm.
in Colombia. And all of us have probably had different journeys in
Yes.
getting here. Was Colombia something that was always on your radar growing up, or did it just recently come about?
Well, for me, I grew up in a city where there was a lot of Colombians and a lot of cultures, like a big melting pot coming from New York. And then all of the young people that were at my college and um, school activities would always, tell me about the countries they were from. And Colombia was always popping up, but I never had the opportunity. And then one of my good friends, Sam, he had a Colombian bakery in the town. So I always wanted to go and, visit and check and connect with his culture and things like that. So finally got the opportunity when my sister invited me to Medellin.
Nice, nice. Now,
Yeah.
did you always grow up, traveling or tell me about that? Like growing up, traveling
Yeah,
was
for
always
me,
something around.
growing up, I was always on the go. So my mom, she always would move to different cities. So I was mainly between New York, Atlanta, and then different cities within those two states.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to be in Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island, Atlanta, Brooklyn, Bankhead, Lithonia. So I was always someone that was able to like learn how to get from A to B, traveling through public transportation,
Mm-hmm.
train, bus, cars, taxis. So I always got to, visit and see different places and learn about ways to travel and different ways to travel throughout inner cities.
Nah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up and down the East Coast originally from Philadelphia. I went to school in Atlanta, so between
Hmm.
Philadelphia, Atlanta, and then before I moved abroad, I was living in South Florida,
Oh,
in a bunch
word.
of different cities and everything else. So from the East Coast, I definitely understand, beating that path on the East Coast. However,
Hmm.
you know, it was something when I was thinking because growing up, I really going abroad
Hmm.
it seemed like a completely foreign concept. Like I remember when I was a kid, my sister went
Right.
to Puerto Rico when I was in eighth grade. She was in seventh, and I remember thinking that she was going like to the furthest place ever. Like this is not a part
Wow.
of the United States because at that time my limited thought process on really how big the world was. Um, that's where I was at. I just thought,
Hmm.
the East Coast was big enough. Never mind, never seen the West Coast or the
Right.
Midwest or really further south. And I think it wasn't until I was 16. I was 16, and my parents took us on a family trip to Jamaica, and
That's
that was the
awesome.
first time I had gone abroad. Now that was
Wow.
like canned. It was a resort, it wasn't like the real authentic Jamaican experience, but that was my first time kind of stepping out. It wasn't until
Jamaica.
like maybe after college. It wasn't until
After
after
college,
college
same
that
for
I
me.
actually had my first real experience out of the United States, and it like blew my mind. Did you grow
That's
up having any
phenomenal.
experiences leaving the United States, or was do you wait till you get older?
Yeah, when I was a baby, I couldn't remember. So I was like 1 or 2 when my mom took me to Jamaica.
Okay.
So my dad's Jamaican, and I was able to start traveling to Jamaica as when I got older, but not really any like travels abroad before like I reached like 18. So when I first started traveling, like within the United States, I took a road trip with my sister to California from New York.
Oof.
So being able to travel through different cities, it was opening my eyes to different views, different places. And then I was just like, wow, this is awesome. And my sister was a person who was always traveling, going out the country, going out to different, like she was in China, she was in Taiwan, different countries, and I was always like inspired by that. And
Nice.
I got to get more experience traveling from within the states, and then going abroad. It just made it more easier for me to connect and open up to different societies and things like that.
Bro, that's real because so many people
Yeah,
don't have anybody that they can look at that they actually know. I
yeah.
didn't grow up like having a rich uncle or
Hmm.
somebody that was like, oh, my grandma, when I was a kid, she went to like Switzerland and stuff, and I remember the chocolate
That's
that she brought
awesome.
back, and I was like, okay, so I'm from Philadelphia. Everybody knows
Boy,
Hershey chocolate. So I've been to Hershey, and the chocolate in
actually,
Hershey tastes different than what they're putting out in the streets, like in a good way.
true.
But this hot chocolate she brought back from Switzerland, it was like nothing I ever experienced. And even
Right.
from a little kid, just a palate journey, the flavors what they
Hmm.
had, it took me on a journey, and I was like, yeah, there's something out there that I was like really I wanted to know about, but I really didn't have a lot of people that were in front of me that were actively doing it. So that's good that you had your sister that was actively forging the path and saying, "Hey, I'm in Thailand, I'm in these places." That was,
Yes.
and then the possibility to even say, "Come visit me," if you were able to
Yeah.
do that. That
That's a
that is
fact.
that's something that a lot of people don't have, and it's now turned into opportunities like these conversations, different
Hmm.
platforms where people
Right.
are starting to get to know people that are in the travel, whether it's virtually,
Yes.
and really feeling like, okay, this is
Yes.
actually something I can do versus some big mystery and question mark around it.
True that. That's a fact. Also, being able to see and get inspired by a lot of the creators that are out on different platforms like YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, and being able to learn from them and see the different aspects of the world through their lens is also what allowed me to, take that extra step too, as another push to go abroad and be able to enter into an international market.
Nah, that's real because
Yes,
it takes
sir.
a lot of it takes a lot to one start a business. Before we get into the business side, I want to get a better understanding because
Right.
not everybody's got a phone now, which the phone has a camera. So
Yeah.
everybody is a photographer, but
Hmm.
we're old enough to remember that not everything had a camera attached to it at one point.
True.
And that leads me into wanting to know, like, what got you started in the photography in general?
So for me, as a young creative, I started out like super inspired through hip hop and music, and I realized that everything was kind of interconnected because artists always need someone to capture great images of their shows and things like
Hmm.
that. So it started out with music and going to different events where I would meet a lot of photographers to take photos of me and my friends, either performing or things like that. And then I had the opportunity to go to Arizona State University and study, where I studied international business. And I was an
Okay.
individual that always wanted to learn about like the clubs and activities that they had to offer. So I joined a bunch of different clubs, and I was a part of the programming board. And I had the opportunity to become the digital marketer, and we had access to camera equipment. And once I
Mm,
started to learn that and learn how to use the cameras and learn how to take photos for different people at these events, I was like, yo, this is something that I want to do, and keep on, creating my own way. So I think being able to get access to the creative resources, and being able to just utilize my creativity as an artist and connect with different people is what allowed me to get into photography as a whole.
that's dope, bro. Let
Yes,
me
sir.
ask you because your camera, that's an extension of you, and when you put that in,
Yes.
was it like a magical Excalibur feeling, like this thing right here is about to take me all around the world, or were you just like, I just want to capture what I can see first?
Yeah, so for me, it's like, like you said, that extension of you, like I don't really go anywhere out without my camera. So just being able to capture and see the looks on the people's faces and their reaction to the way that they look, it's like, wow, once they see like, oh wow, that's me, like it reminds them as if like they're like a celebrity or something, the way that the quality of the photos come out. So that's something that really inspires me to see people's reaction and see how like a smile that they can put on their face from what they're seeing visually. And things like that is what keeps me going, and makes me want to expand more and learn more about the skill set.
No. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
When you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, the world is going to continuously bring you the things that will tell you, the markers that say, hey,
True.
you're on the right path. There's things that you can buy, and there's things that you just can't buy. There's feelings that when you do a good job and you see, like you said, that look on somebody's face where they're like, man, you made me look like $1 million. Those
Yeah.
things aren't something you can go to Amazon and purchase. But when you feel
Nah,
them, you're like, this is what I do, and this is why I do what I do. I take
that's
it.
a fact. See.
Let me ask you, bro, because building is such an important thing. When looking to turn your hobby or love for travel into something you can make money off of, that you could
Mhm.
essentially feel like, hey, I'm not working because I'm doing what I love. Where were you when you realized that, like, you weren't just going to be taking pictures and telling stories? You said, I want to put this into a full business model where I can do expansion, because it's not just you, bro. I know you work with other people, and that didn't just
Yes.
start from the first day. You just had a team of people working with you.
Yeah, like over time, just being able to visualize and see how everything was so interconnected in terms of creative arts, and to see how one another, like if I'm a photographer and I see a model, she has a nice outfit on, and that brand is coming from this creator, from this barrio, or from this city, or from being able to interconnect everything, as if like I feel like this is the meaning behind natural culture is, no matter whatever like subculture it is or thing that you do creatively, we're all coming together in a natural creative perspective. So the photographer connects with the model connects with the fashion designer, and everything is interconnected, and we're all cultivated in a sense. So being able to bring this all together is like something that I call the natural culture. So that's, the things that is a lot that allows me to bring together a group of people, whether it be for a production, if we're doing a music video, being able to just connect the young innovators and doers that are, coming up entrepreneurially, um, you know, being able to provide access to the resources and grow with one another. It allows me to expand my creativity and also learn from different individuals in the creative spaces, no matter
Yeah.
where we are.
And you bring up a good point. That you no matter where we are thing is important
Yeah.
because there are going to be a bunch of people that might be at
Hmm.
home in the United States and they got a camera and they have a book of work that they do and they do the music videos in the city and maybe they're like shout out to my cousin Moose with Money
Yes.
Making Moose. He does Moose was it Money Tree TV with Money
Money
Tree
Tree
TV, but
TV.
like he's in Atlanta right now. He's in
Yes.
New Jersey. I think he was just in Los Angeles last week, and it's like he has the ability, the clientele, and everything else. And there are so many people that are like this, like that are at
Yes.
home and are really doing great work with their camera. But let me ask you this, because you took that great work that you were doing in the United States and then said, I went to Medellin because my sister invited me out here, but I'm
Yeah.
going to go move out here now and then start doing this. Can you kind of get into like, how did you really wrap your head around taking that first step of leaving the States, excuse me, and then expanding to Cartagena, Colombia?
So I made it like a gradual shift. I made sure that I was aware of the market, I was
Mm-hmm.
aware of the culture, and aware how to communicate in order to operate properly within Cartagena, Colombia, and within Colombia overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a person that sits back and evaluates the situations that I go through on a daily basis, and try to make it ideal for me to be able to function properly. So it wasn't a quick shift. It took like a good three years to really make the official move. But I know for some people, everyone like are interested in making the shift as quick as possible. But for me, I wanted to evaluate and go within the cities and go within the neighborhoods where I could actually learn from the people and just be able to see how the social culture, economical,
Mm-hmm.
and like the different variables that affect business when in operation. So, like, something that I learned from just studying international business is that when a large company wants to move to a foreign market, they have to know how to become aware of what religions, what um, social class type system or societies that the country is or has. They have to learn about the government. They have to learn about a lot of different things before
Mm-hmm.
making that international move, in order to make sure that they're acquainted with the customer, or the types of people that they'll be operating their business in. So I took that idea and I did that with me moving and doing work in the different cities in Colombia. So just being able to evaluate the people, connect with the people, and also share my creativity through photography, music, and just to hear and hear their music, hear their sounds, taste their food, walk
Mm-hmm.
around the different cities that are popular and most visited, just so I can see why it's important to learn these things and learn the history in order to be successful when officially coming in and doing business in the city. So that's how I really I evaluated the situation, made sure it was the right opportunity, and that's what allowed me to be successful with the business, and be able to maintain and operate within those cities.
Nah, you gave yourself a good foundation, and you did
Yes.
say something because a lot of people are willing to just jump out and just go.
Hmm.
And 3 years. So 3 years ago it was 2022. We were a little bit in a different situation
Yeah.
in the United States, so you could kind of slow walk. And I know a lot of people are like, I got to get out here tomorrow. But
Right.
that's where I come in. So we were
Uh-huh.
just hopped off a conversation, but that's why we do the virtual relocation conferences. That's why we do the
Yes.
physical relocation tours, because we know that you need some guidance. We didn't. I went to
I
some of the best
agree.
schools in the country, and they didn't give me any guidance on how to move abroad, how to leave the
No.
United States. They didn't tell me about any of those things. And I know one thing that I pride myself on is taking a lot of what you said took you 3 years and
Hmm.
giving it to somebody in a way where I listen. You give me 100 days and you have the ability to actually leave. I can give you a full step-by-step plan in 100 days for you to be able to be gone.
Right.
But it's
That's
because I've compiled all of the resources and all of the
right.
information to take what we had to kind of piece together and put it
Yes.
all into one scenario. So I say that is because I'm like, I know a lot of people are saying, how do I take this love for
Hmm.
photography and my book of business and start advertising for Americans to come visit me in my location by being able to show them unique destinations, but also
Yes.
something important, which is learning where I'm going, learning the culture, learning to understand how, because I tell people, I learned how to have the best relationships by
Hmm.
spending time in Cartagena. Now, I've
Yes.
had relationships in America, but Cartagena has taught me a lot about
Yes.
relationships that I was
True.
not privy to before I came to Cartagena. And now, being years into Cartagena, so many people in the United States, we're used to things being black and white,
Hmm.
things being like, well, here is a contract, and once you have some sort of issue with the contract, you got there's a lawyer process. Things are a little bit different outside of country. There's just lawyers and
Yes.
things of that nature. But one of the biggest things I realized when it comes to relationships, specifically with Colombia, was you have to be who you say you are. Somebody has to be able to trust you. For handshake, with money, like you can't be a person that is a shady business dealer.
No.
Now, because I came from South Florida. It's the land of the legal scams. And you come to a place like Colombia when you're in the neighborhood with the people.
Right.
Things don't fly the same way they may fly in the United States. So whether you come to Colombia, Panama, Jamaica, wherever you're looking to go, that's on you.
Hmm.
But learning the culture and learning how relationships work will do two things for you. One, help you not to get scammed.
Yes. Is
Start
that
there.
that's
But then the
everywhere.
second thing is have a good time with what you're doing in a new life that you're actually able to get. So let me ask you, because New York life is it's interesting, bro. You got your
Yeah.
boroughs, depending on where you
Upstate.
live, you could be in a scenario. If you're in a city, you could be in a scenario where you're paying a whole lot of money for a little bit of place.
Right.
Did you run into that going from New York to Cartagena with the
Um.
wow?
So for me, like going to Cartagena and like for me, I I wanted to experience what everybody from the city experience, and I wanted to do like some like on the ground research.
Hmm.
So I had the opportunity to connect with someone in Cartagena in advance, and I actually met them in Medellin, but I was able to connect with them more and establish a strong relationship and learn the cultural values of the city from staying within one of the barrios in Cartagena for a
Okay.
long time. So with that, it allowed me to get an understanding of how relationships were, the cultures. So it wasn't like significantly for in terms of the pricing and the rates in Colombia, it's a lot more affordable. But in New York City, if you want to be in the center and the point where there is, the most access to resources or
Mm-hmm.
creative spaces and things like that, you're gonna have to, pay a pretty penny. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
want to be in Manhattan, you want to be in Brooklyn, you want to be in the city, in the parts where there's a lot of things moving, a lot of like attention, popularity, and things happening in terms of the scene, music scene, the um entertainment scene and things like that. Like you're gonna have to, put that money up, and they have, pretty small places because the amount of people in New York is like
It's
so
insane.
much. So we had to utilize the space as much as possible.
Is that why you picked Cartagena over Medellin? Because I always tell people when they ask me about like how Medellin is, I'm like, it's like a Colombian version of New York. You've got your boroughs that are self-sustainable. People are like, I'm not leaving
Yeah,
Morellas. That's what it reminded me of coming from Philadelphia. Did you like say like,
yeah.
yeah, that's exactly why I chose Cartagena?
Nah, I really chose Cartagena mainly because of the weather. In New York, it's brick. It's
Yeah,
super, super cold during the
but it's
months
900
of.
degrees.
Yeah, yeah. It's right now. It's pretty hot right now, but in December, like between like I say like November, no, late October to January, February, it's brick. It's cold, snowstorms and things like that. So for me, I like being in the warm climates because I have a condition called arthritis, which causes inflammation in my joints. So being in warmer climates allows me to be able to work in a more functional and environment, and more. It gives me more opportunity to really move my body. It rejuvenates me, and it's helpful to be in a space where the food and la comida is más natural and more natural. It's more healing for the body. When in the states, I'm subjected to a lot of like high fructose corn syrups and things that wouldn't be good for me to consume for my body. So it's the weather as well as the health benefits, and the reason why I moved into this type of environment. So just
Nah,
being in a space where I can, work and function properly all throughout the year is amazing.
yeah, that's one good thing. Medellin is 70 to 80 degrees all year long.
Yes.
Cartagena is 80 to 90 degrees all year long. We don't really have seasons in those two particular locations in Colombia. I always tell people, my perspective uh, changed so much. Even
Hmm.
now, like right now, I am in Playa del Carmen. I've been here for like 2 weeks or so. I'll be back in Colombia the end of the month. But
Right.
seeing, I said if I was to have left the United States and going to Mexico first and then to Medellin, I would have been in a different space than I am. I have lived in Medellin for like 2.5 years, and then coming to Playa, it is an interesting thing because
Right.
every place has its own energy. Every
Hmm.
place has its own speed.
Hmm.
Here in Playa, and even like places like Cartagena, it's always hot as hell during the daytime. So things that during the daytime, I would naturally do in Medellin, go to the walk through them. It might not do that. I've been
Hmm.
in the pool more time in 2 weeks than I've probably been in 2 years because
Right.
it's hot. But with the different environment comes a different perspective, and you have a unique scenario because obviously you're an individual. But I want to ask you about from a camera perspective, uh, with
Yes.
your different life that you have, your different perspective on life, the different things that you can shoot, and the stories that you can tell. How has your style of shooting changed since you've actually gone and embraced yourself and dive deep into Latin American culture?
Um, I I've been able to come across a lot of hardworking creatives within the industry as well in Cartagena and in Colombia, and being able to see the way that they operate too as well has given me a lot of more skill sets and capabilities because I mainly come from a business background, but with the photography, it allowed me to branch out and to do something that I really enjoy doing and I could earn money from. So just being able to, get the Spanish infrastructure as backdrops within, the city, and, be able to incorporate the lifestyle type content in a different environment, and it kind of like switches up the scenery, because most of the time when I'm back in the States, it's usually big buildings and things like that. So and being in Colombia, I get more of the tropical vibes, learning how to work with the lighting and the sun and on the beach, and just learn from the photographers and creatives there that are so used to that type of environment.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how to handle the equipment and how to handle the different changes in the weather. Sometimes it might rain quickly, so we got to be able to come with equipment to cover things up, and you got to be able to have second options, shoot options, and things like that. So just being able to see, the shift in, the way that other people operate, and then and being able to connect it with what I do is always good.
No, it, it,
Yes,
it, it
sir.
is. I tell people the opportunity for us to learn across the diaspora is honestly
Mm-hmm.
what we make it, because we have resources that we come with. They have resources that they're already in the location that we got to.
Mm-hmm.
And the ability to share those resources. And when people hear resources and sharing things, they think, oh, what's a money thing? No, 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 no. He just went through a litany of things that he said, I'm used to dealing with buildings. These guys are used to making a small space or a very unique space look like
Yeah.
it is the most beautifully shot, considering things that we're not worried about, random
Mm-hmm.
rainstorms coming out of nowhere in the sand, like
Mm-hmm.
the salt water, the air in the water, and the air in
Yeah,
Cartagena is just full of salt. So I could
I
only
agree.
imagine what they may you may have to navigate from an equipment perspective. So
Yeah.
what you're talking about is what we try to tell people, like, you do not have to do this by yourself. You just have
Mm-mm.
to be open enough to work with others and
Mm-hmm.
find other people that are willing to work with you. But I feel like it's more people that are willing to work with each other abroad than what we're used to in the United States, because everything seems like Revis Island, like everybody's on their own island. And if you're not from
Mm-hmm.
my island, or then we can't do. And it's so much easier, I feel like, to build that community of solid people that you can trust abroad.
Most definitely. I agree. Because, you know, I will say this, like when you're coming into Colombia as a foreigner, you're gonna be treated differently, not in a full negative way, but if you understand the society and the cultural aspects of it, and you have someone like you who has been through like various situations in order to establish yourself in these different markets, you're able to assist in that aspect and streamlining and making it more efficient, so that those individuals don't have to go through those specific situations that you've been through, because you already know how to avoid it, whether it be through scamming situations or the language barrier, or just not being culturally aware on certain situation. Like it could be as simple as eating food and a fly is coming near you, or being able to for examples, like I had invited someone to the studio, and like they seen a gecko, the little lizards
Mm-hmm.
that be running around, and they was so like bugged out about it. They was just like, what, tripping, like it was something like, wow, you got this in the studio, and but that's just a normal thing for some people
Don't go
that
to
are
South
living
Florida.
there
That is
and
going to
things like
freak you
that.
out.
Yeah. So for people who are in other cities who don't know about things like that, like it's always good to prepare in advance.
Yeah, you got to prepare, man. You got to prepare,
Yeah.
because what most people think is America is everywhere. that they're gonna go from wherever they are in the United States, and when they go abroad, it's going to be just like how it was. Just none of the things that they hate, but all of the things that they love about America. And neither of those things are true. There might be some things that you don't like about America that might be over there. Might be some
Mhm.
things that you love about America that aren't over there. And the research of it is very important because you can't expect the United States there. And then you have to realize that you might need to unlearn some behaviors from the
Yeah,
United States that are actually very toxic behaviors. Did you run
that's a
into that
great
when you
way to
first
put
got
it.
to Colombia, bro? Like, I
Yeah,
have to
I agree.
unlearn some things so I don't put myself in a position not to be. I can see the way I'm thinking is not the
Mhm.
way the room is thinking, and I had to unlearn some things with even that. What about yourself,
Yeah,
man?
that's a fact. I completely agree with that. That and just I see it on a day-to-day basis. Like people like, oh, like just just witnessing certain situations that occur consistently over and over, and then just preparing myself to, explain to people like this is the way it is, and it's not some things you just can't have it like your way in a way. That makes sense.
Yeah, yo, it really is because, like I said, Americans don't understand the entitlement that them, and we have until you're in a position where it's no longer about you anymore. I
Hmm.
tell people all the time we don't take advantage of the fact that we are in a melting pot. And I say
Hmm.
to take advantage of it and to say of learning about different cultures and communities because oftentimes these communities are in the United States and they're thriving, but you go there, grab some food, and you roll out. Like there's not a lot of times where we're getting a chance because you said, I grew up in New York. There's Colombian people around. Where
Hmm.
I grew up in Philadelphia, it was a bunch of Puerto Rican people that were around. In South Florida, there's everybody. In Atlanta, it was black, whites, and Mexicans and Asian people. But it was a lot of opportunities to take the positive thing that we have, which is a melting pot, and start learning right where you are. Because when you go to a place
Yes.
like Colombia, it's Colombians.
Even
It's
coming back is so much better for me now. Being able
mm-hmm.
to here, like, say for instance I go to order something and I say what I want at a Spanish restaurant in Spanish. They're opening up and like, wow, you know how to
Yeah.
say this, because they're not used to seeing someone
Nope.
like me speak Spanish to them, or even understand like what this is and the differences, and
Mm-hmm.
asking questions if they have this on their menu. They're like, wow, how do you know that? So
Yeah.
being able to see like other people's reactions to being able to communicate and being able to culturally connect with them more, now that I'm aware where they come from back in the
Nah.
states, is like a great
Like a
feeling,
cheat code, man. It's like a cheat
yeah, it's
code.
like
It's
a
like,
cheat
bro, I've
code.
been coming around here all this time, and now I know what y'all saying, and I can speak to you guys. I had the
See,
best, my best language story, bro, is this because language is extremely connective, and I did
yeah.
not realize it until this happened. I was in Mexico for Christmas, and I was at a resort, and there was a guy in like the elevator, and he was like an Asian guy. And I went to go say, hey, what's up? And he's like, sorry, I don't speak English. Pretty sure it was Korean. I said, tu habla inglés? I mean, español? He said, sí.
Oh yes, that has happened to me before
So
too.
then we
Yeah.
got we were riding down the elevator having a conversation in Spanish that we could not have unless the two of us
Yes,
knew a
that
different
happened to
language.
me
And I said,
before too.
wow, that's not something
That's
I
a
was
fact.
expecting. But when I had it, I was like, no, this is what I'm talking about when you get this opportunity to wow yourself in your own
Yeah.
life. Like that right there blew my mind. I was like, we
That
didn't
occurred
know
with
the
me
language.
too when I was in Times Square. I was doing street style photography, and this was the time where there was a lot of people coming in from different countries, like immigrants, and there was like a lot of like African looking people from Senegal, and like they couldn't speak English, but they was having full conversations with me in Spanish, and I was like, "What? This guy,
Yeah.
African, look, just like me, doesn't know English, but he knows how to speak Spanish." And we were able to communicate perfectly just from you know his where they're from. They speak Spanish. And a lot of their community knows multiple languages, like three, four
Hmm.
languages. So it was really cool and eye opening to see that.
Nah, that's what I think this travel life and travel ad is all about, and taking your skills and what you do and creating a good life for yourself. Because I think both of us have been able to carve out our little niche and been able to do that. But let me ask you, man, because a lot of people want to talk about only the great things, and there's plenty. People think that once you move abroad, everything is solved. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. Did you have a moment since you've been moving, since you've been living out here, made this decision where you said almost was like, might just go back to United States?
Well, for me, I feel like I'm a global citizen. So I feel like I'm always gonna be traveling no matter what. Even though I have like the HQ in Colombia, I'm still
Hmm.
gonna be going different places on a consistent basis. So like a nomad. But
Yes, sir.
Colombia, like just like in terms of some of the political situations that occur, like it kind of like throws me off, and then as well as like sometimes their infrastructure, depending on the situation, because they're in a lot of the development, so sometimes power outages are frequent, and it happens every now and then. So I might be working on the computer, editing or doing something important, and the power might go out. But I gotta, have a plan B or prepare for different situations than normal. So, like in the States, it doesn't happen as often, but that's something that you have to deal with when you're in a developing nation. So that's something I could say.
Now that makes sense, man. And that
Yeah.
definitely varies depending on where you are. I think I've had maybe one power outage 2 and 3 years, but I've
Hmm.
also dealt with earthquakes.
Right.
So
And
like you
yeah.
gotta. I tell people all the time when you're considering moving abroad, write what you are looking for down and write what you are looking to leave.
Hmm.
You'd be surprised how much things are going to be on either one of those sides. But visualization of what you're looking to leave, because you're going to run into things, power outages. Depending on what time of year it is, Cartagena can get real wet real fast.
Yeah,
Um,
floods. The
Floods,
streets be
like
flooded. You could swim in
flooded,
it.
like 3 4 feet of water, like real quick. So all things that can vary depending on where it is that you go. You just have to be willing to take the leap and take a look at what it is that you want from life, because the balance of doing what you love and doing what pays you doesn't have to be so far apart.
Hmm.
And you have been able to get very close, if not like the perfect balance of doing exactly what you want to do, and where you
Yes.
want to be, and doing things that allow you to just continue to live in this space. Let
Yes.
me ask you, like, with that being said, like, what is the biggest lesson regarding entrepreneurship that you've learned since you've actually went and moved abroad?
Mm. You have to be willing and able to adapt to the certain situations and circumstances that you are dealt with. And you have to have an open mindset, and you have to tell yourself that anything is possible, nothing is an obstacle. And you have to push on, and you have to have a lot of strength, because there's gonna be a lot of times where you may be having difficulties, whether it be communication or just the way you're being treated. You have to have a good heart, and you got to be strong, you got to be stern. So those are some of the things that it enables me to continue and push forward as an entrepreneur. You know, just being able to adapt to certain situations and utilize like uh the people and family that you create on different and these different markets and different locations that you go to, you know. Got to be able to be open and, you know, clear and ex- expressive about how you feel and the things that you want to achieve so that people can provide the resources for it, whatever it is that you want to do.
I tell people, if you are doing what you are supposed to be doing, the calling on your life, God got
Hmm.
a way of putting people and things in front of you, like that
Yes.
will honestly floor you. Like you got to think, you got to realize that this life thing, there's no playbook, there's no understanding of what even comes 5 minutes from now. But
Hmm.
if you just lock in to what God has put into your life and said, you've got skills, you got talents, like use them, build community,
Yes.
build with others. Listen, I have been blessed to have so many things that weren't on my radar. People talking about my names in rooms that I wasn't in a positive way. And even like
Yes.
the email I got this morning, like I was just like, matter of fact, it wasn't even the email I got this morning. I almost missed an email that was sent to me last week. I went to my emails and I was going through each page looking for something, and I missed the email and I saw that email and I said somebody was in a room saying something positive about me, and all I'm doing is doing my best to try to live my life the best way for I
Hmm.
can for myself and my family, and the world brought that positive energy to me. And if you are on the path that you are supposed to be on, if you are looking at this and saying, you know, I got this camera, or, you know, I have this skill, or I have this desire in my heart to want to go abroad and meet more people like me, meet more people like me from America, meet more people like me from another country, but really want to take that on, I promise you, the world, you are doing it within a positive spirit, is going to give you exactly what you're asking for back. And probably a
Yes.
lot more, because with all of the negativity we see here, we're talking about things of the heart, turning your love for travel, turning your love for photography into an income that will allow you to see the world. This isn't just turning it into an income so you can go buy a Ferrari. This isn't turning it into an income so you can actually go about living life. Because so many people, we're not living, bro. We just here, existing.
Hmm.
And the opportunity to live is really where this comes from. You know, taking a dream and turning it into a reality that not only impacts others. Them girls was all in my inbox when you sent them pictures. Can you send me the pictures? Because I know I got some good ones.
Send
And
me the
like you said,
photos.
they posted them celebrity, like that's how they felt, and it encapsulated a moment in time that really showed what they had. So if they get older, or you know, they get into some sort of accident, not able to move around the way they want to, they're able to go look at those videos and those pictures, and it all came because you was willing to take a talent and
Yes.
make it bigger than just you. And that right there is a testimony to who you are, who I do my best to try to bring people on this platform that will show you, like, you can have something in here and in here, but the world may need exactly what it is that you think is only for you. The
Yes.
world needs more of what it is that you guys have going on in that natural culture. So let me ask you this, man, because we've got the rest of the year, and then we've got a brand new year starting. Like, what is on the horizons for you guys there in Cartagena, man?
For Cartagena, Colombia, estamos trabajando duro todos los días. We are working hard every day to bring to you a creative space, a lot bigger than just the natural culture studio that we have in Cartagena, but being able to create a resource space that also helps bridge the connection and cultures together. So I want to launch a campaign next month, actually in September, to bring awareness to this new space that I want to build in Cartagena that is going to encompass both the photography studio as well as a cafe and space for people to as well sell their goods and products. And we're gonna be launching 2026. So I'm putting together a new creative space and resource center for the international travelers so that they can become acquainted and connected with the local talents within Cartagena, whether it be models, photographers, or innovators, public speakers, or dancers. So this is gonna be like a space for people to come and connect. Like I realized that it didn't have that, you know. So when
Hmm.
the travelers and the people that are coming into the city, like, you know, they'll have their space to create and express themselves through the new market. It's something that they're lacking. So I want to be able to create that space. So coming soon, natural culture resources 2026, exciting news, you know.
Nah, that is definitely big because I get a lot of groups that go to Cartagena, and I get a lot of solo travelers that come to Medellin. And I'm
Hmm.
starting to get more people that are looking into the community and what things that they have going on in Cartagena as far as the expat community, and I
Yes.
will say that it is slowly growing in Cartagena. So I appreciate you for being a part of that because
Yes.
the one here in Medellin, it's we get out, we hang out, we do a bunch of stuff.
That's
It's
awesome.
a big vibrant community, and you being able to not only bring together everybody but give them a space to do so is
Yes.
really going to be important within because Cartagena is only going to get more and more people. They're opening up that Four Seasons by the convention
Yes.
center, the American Cruise Lines, Virgin, Celebrity. They're starting to come. So we're talking a small space that now more Americans are starting to get access to. Did I lose Roy? Might have lost my brother right there. Did have one more question for him, but looks like we may have lost him, which is not a problem, man. We have been here for a little bit under an hour. Thanks for those who happened to tune into both of our talks today. We'll be having a Mood virtual relocation conference. So all those people that are looking to move to Colombia, you guys can go to moodtravelcolombia.com. Super early bird tickets are live through August 1st. So you can get your ticket to find out exactly what you need to move to Colombia. We have over 10 speakers that will be speaking on real estate, immigration, healthcare, parenting with children abroad, all of these things that you need that most people won't go categorize. We put those back into a space where it gives you a couple of hours with us so that you can get all of the resources that you need virtually. And then we offer you our physical tour. So once you come out here, you can meet all of the people that you essentially met on the virtual relocation tour. However, this is Terminal Talk. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Terminal Talk is please go to YouTube. Turn your travel into income. We have conversations with people who have done exactly that. Whether you're looking to be a travel agent, looking to take your love for being a photographer or a creative, we do our best to connect you with the resources that you need and the people that are already living the life that you want, finding out how they started, how they did it. This is why we do what it is that we do. I appreciate you guys as always. Next couple of days, I am going to be on the road, 2 days of travel. But the next time you see me, I will be in beautiful Dominican Republic. Shout out to the group of everyone that is coming out there to see us starting Thursday. And then next week, make sure y'all tune it back in on anything you know where I'm at. So we've got moodtravelcolombia.com. You've got moodtravelclub.com. But next week, we'll be doing a live podcast with Michelle and Rotisha so that way that you guys can continue to get more information, get some more information about the conference, let you know how people are turning their love for travel into income and a life that they can actually say is worth living. So without further ado, I appreciate y'all. I'll let you guys go back to y'all day. I will go back to mine. It's a beautiful day here in Playa del Carmen. I'll see you guys in Medellin not too long, but before then, Dominican Republic. I'll talk to you guys soon. Oh, Roy came back. I let him back in.
Sorry about that. I
Brother
got
man,
disconnected. But yeah,
it's
like
all
you were
good. I was
saying,
wrapping
the
up.
Four Season, there's different innovation and infrastructure being built in Cartagena, and definitely feel like this is the space for this type
Yeah.
of resource center, brother.
Last thing I'm gonna ask you, because I did have one more question before you could go. If you could go back, Roy, and you're staying in the airport, making your first flight to move to Colombia, what would you say to yourself that you didn't know now? Didn't know then,
What would
excuse
I
me.
say to myself that I
Yes, sir.
didn't know now? Uh, so I'm sitting in the airport right now. What would I say to hmm I would just say like, dale duro todos los días.
Tell the people what that means. I mean, I know, but I'm sure somebody saying here is like, what does that mean? Like,
Go hard every day. Work hard. You know what I'm saying? Each day that you go out, keep grinding. Dale duro todos los días. That's like one of the sayings out in Medellin too, as well.
yeah, work hard, work with the intention on, work with the spirit of positivity. Do all of
Yes.
these things, and then you may be one of the people that will be interviewed on, Terminal Talk, because you may have decided I'm going to turn my life into something that is actually worth living. So thanks, Roy, coming on today,
Yes.
giving us a
I
better understanding of
appreciate
who
you.
you are. Please tell the people how to get in contact with you if they already don't know.
You can check me out on the socials at Natural Culture or Cultura Natural, on Instagram, Natural Culture ENT, on Facebook, Cultura Natural, as well as Instagram and TikTok. Cartagena Connect on TikTok. So I appreciate you having me. Thank you for this opportunity to, share my experiences on this platform. I really, really, really am thankful.
Nah, it's all love, man. We got to build together, man.
Yes,
And if
sir.
you guys are in Cartagena, please make sure you hit them up. Get them pictures, get those videos done. All my
Yes.
people that like music videos. Listen,
Pop
if you
out.
are an entertainer, a musician, and you're looking for some of the most beautiful places that nobody else is shooting their music videos in, you need to come to Colombia because you got Cartagena, you have Medellin, you've got Santa Marta, San Andres, the entire
Barranquilla, Riohacha,
Barranquilla, the entire
Cali,
country of
todo.
Colombia is all views, all beauty, and it's yours to be able to kind of reel it in and take it for what it has to offer to you, and also make sure you are giving back. So I'm gonna let everybody
Yes.
go. I gotta go pack, man. I got one, two. I may got like 5 more flights before the end of this month before I can get
Uf,
back to Medellin.
mucho
But
viajas.
see, amigo.
Okay.
But I will talk to you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys a little bit later this week from beautiful
Peace
Punta
out.
Cana, Dominican Republic. Until
Peace
then,
and
I'll see
love.
y'all next time in the terminal.
All right, y'all.
Peace.